Charles Edward?
Correct.
Why you say that?
I say that because it's very specifically stated, name by name by name, who is the next heir. It's not an umbrella. It is not an umbrella package under the name of Edward.
But it's only two persons specifically stated. That's Bruce and Jonathan.
And it still is specifically stated by name, specifically, not the Edward domain, the Edward family.
No, that is not what this says. Those two persons are stated by name as executors and co-executor. Should Bruce be unwilling to act as executor, then it's Jonathan. This, at the end, says, let it be known that the Edward estate and its assets will be passed down to the next of kin bearing the Edward last name.
I am the next of kin, as my parents have passed, and I am the next.
Okay, but his contention is that I'm a next of kin too, because my parents, my great-grandparents, and my great-great-grandparents are passed, and I'm also a next of kin.
There seems to me a very specific line of inheritance.
It said the Edwards. All it said was Edward.
The Edwards. So line by line, I'm next in line. We've had this property for a very long time.
Do you contend that Harriet Edwards and Charles Edward never had a child?
I'm saying that I'm next in line.
Oh, come on. What's your name, sir?
My name is Landon Edward. I am.
And who are you?
I'm Miss Edward's, Miss Edward, adopted son.
You're the adopted son too. Yeah. By the way, how do you fit in here? You're the adopted child too?
No, Your Honor. I am the last descendant. My great uncle and I are the last descendants of the Harriet side of the.
But you don't look like an African American either. So who did your parent intermingle with?
My mother Patrice. She's Filipino.
Your mother Patrice was Filipino.
She's Filipino.
Okay, get me straight now, because I'm looking.
Sorry, Your Honor.
I see a lot of mixing going on here. All right, now, so let's skip you, because you aren't the next of kin. Because Sonny is still here.
That's correct.
And he's the child of Charles. So he beat you out. So you need to sit down. Let me talk to Sonny.
Yes, Your Honor.
Step forward, Mr. Sonny Edward. If anybody has a right to it, it's you first. Unless you want to give up your claim to him. Now, what you have to say? Are you listening to him telling you that you have a right?
Your Honor, when I think of, I was a sharecropper.
Right.
For a number of years, for over 32 years.
Yeah, speak up a little bit.
And I knew that someone would step up. I've always had the code of silence due to Jim Crow and his.
So you were a sharecropper on Mr. Edwards' land?
Yes, I was.
Your whole family?
My whole family, pretty much.
Except your great-great-grandmother lived in his house?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. Did anybody do any type of I understand we have a DNA test, right?
Yes, we do.
And a registry of the slaves on the Edward plantation. So let me see. Can you say Harriet was one of his slaves? Well, that's confirmed. Age 20-year-old, a young Creole girl and her mulatto son, Jimmy. That's what is next in kin, that Harriet and Jimmy is the child of Harriet. And what do these dollars stand for, the 4,500 and all that? Do you know on this registry?
Your Honor,
Mr. History Major, what does that stand for?
Your Honor, that is a receipt for the slaves bought by Mr. Charles Edward.
Oh, that's what he paid for them?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, $4,500 for Harriet and Jimmy?
Yep, cold hard cash, Your Honor.
Coming up.
How do you prove that Jimmy Edward is a child of Harriet Edward?
Well, I have a photo right here, Your Honor.
I know you did tell me that.
Back with the case of Hayden Edward and Sonny Edward, who are suing Diane and Landon Edward to force partition of a sale.
How do you prove that Jimmy Edward is a child of Harriet Edward?
Well, I have a photo right here, Your Honor.
I know you did tell me that.
Drawer.
You did tell me that. You got a photo.
That is my great-great-grandmother, Harriet, and that is her child.
This photo?
That photo.
That's not proof. That's a woman holding a child.
Well, also have the family tree,
That's not
Your Honor.
proof. That is not proof that Charles Edward is her father. Is the father? Now, I understand that there is a DNA test, and I don't know how that happened, because child's been dead. I don't know what this is saying, but the court's going to open it. Somebody presented it as evidence. Let me see what it's supposed to prove. Who these using some words I've never heard of. Subject 1 is Hayden Edward. Subject 2 is Diane Edward. The root subject is Charles Edward. The probability of relativity is 99.999%. The root subject has been recorded as biologically related to both test subjects. That's Charles Edward is the root subject. Biologically related to both Hayden and Diane.
Yes, and that is correct. My family has owned the land. Other families have lived on the land.
Well, you understand the sharecropping, don't you?
I do understand.
And you
that.
understand that historically, that a slave master, if your great-great-grandfather had a relationship with Harriet Edward that produced a child, that all of the descendants of all of her descendants would be Edwards too. Do you not?
They are Edwards. I do agree
But
with
because
that.
they're Edwards, you say, but they're not entitled to the land.
They were
Because the
not-
land specifically said it goes to you.
goes to me because
No.
our family owns it and
No.
other families have lived on the land.
Statute of limitations.
There's no statute of limitations on inheritance. There is none.
Judge Maybelline's verdict when justice with Judge Maybelline.
On intestate law, that's when one dies without a will. And it goes by strictly inheritance. Next of kin. You know, children, grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren, great-great-great. All right?
Correct.
Okay, so here's the problem, Mr. Hayden. Does it say next of kin and equal? It doesn't say next of kin and equal. So it's all the next of kin under intestate succession who were living at the time, and then it keeps passing down. So this property has never been distributed. This estate has never been processed through the court system. So now we're here. Who is the next of kin? That is, who's living right now?
I am.
You are, Sonny is, and Hayden is. Now, next of kin is on the same line as you. His line, Sonny Edwards' line, Clarence is gone, and after Clarence is Clarence Edward Jr., Sonny is the son of Clarence Edward Jr. And on your line, Michael Edwards is gone, and you're the daughter of Diane Edwards. So you and Sonny are the next of kin. So the land will be divided one half between the two of you because you're the next of kin. So the $25,000 is one half of the value of the estate. The land, you want the $25,000 or you want one half of the land? You said $25,000.
I want the $25,000.
All right.
No!
The court, you pay him $25,000. Judgment from the court.
Oh, they went for the money.
In favor of the co-plaintiffs, the co-defendants must pay Sonny Edward in the amount
They
of
laughing.
$25,000.
I'm happy with the judgment, and I believe that this is the gateway for all African Americans to reclaim what's theirs.
Oh,
So
my
the
goodness.
judge asked me to write a check. I still own the land.
They went for the money.